about why we made these decisions. But it's still like, because we're in the middle of it and it's our life, it's still surprising to me when we talk to friends or we meet someone new, like our neighbors, and they're asking us questions about our life and why we're doing this. And they're like, wow, like y'all really did it.
We are the Stills family. After 15 years of marriage, 3 kids, and successful careers, we decided to take a left turn and change our lives completely. We quit jobs, we quit the never-ending pursuit of chasing more, and we packed up for a grand adventure through Europe. Along the way, we are rediscovering ourselves and each other, learning what it means to slow down and rest, and finding adventure in the simple and extraordinary. We are Stills in Halftime.
Thanks for following along and watching these videos. If you like it, please hit the like button and go ahead and subscribe. Sometimes it takes conversations like that to remind me, like, this was a big deal. This was a big decision. And so I've been thinking about like what it took for you to make this decision.
To me, I don't think it ever felt like a big decision because one, I am very slow to react. I am not reactionary. I don't think at the very start I was like, okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna quit the job, we're gonna move halfway across the world, and that's what we're gonna do. It never started that way. It started with, we need to change our, what we're doing. What we're doing day in, day out does not feel good anymore. It got to a point where it was like, I have to make a decision to change. I was so clear and confident, like I know that in me, like I have something that is telling me you have to stop doing that thing. That to me was not a question. So to me it was very clear, I have to stop. And couple that with our really mode of always needing to get something bigger and better, generally in real estate, I knew that we were going to have to do something to like break out of that trajectory we were on. I wasn't so like clear on, okay, here's what we're going to do. In a year I'm going to quit my job, and then as of X, we're going to travel and we're going to go here and then we're going to go there and then we're going to rent our house. None of that was clear. We kind of laid out some things that we thought needed to happen, right? Remember we had this conversation about, some rental property we had, business,
simplify,
all these things that we said, well, let's see how that goes. Let's see how this thing goes. Let's see how it all kind of, we started laying out what needed to happen. The second part was the travel piece.
Right.
And that to me was a little bit more challenging because it is pretty crazy of a thought of what we're doing. But it's really weird. Like if you were to ask the person, like the random person, the question, like, if money were no object, what would you do, right? It's a very, like, let me sit down and think, I'd go to wherever. It always has something to do with, I would go to somewhere. What I know is that I want to go do something. And what I don't want to do is wait till I'm 65. And that's it. And so it's not normal at all. It's not, rational, but, we've got 3 kids. I can't take my kids out of school. I know, like, it's not rational. But to me, it was very clear, like, we'll figure it out. And there is no doubt in my mind that coming from a good place, coming from an intentional place, coming from a place of simplifying, all that stuff's going to work itself out. And oddly enough, every person I talk to about this, they all say the same thing.
We wish we could do.
I wish I could do what you're doing. They all say, not one person.
Maybe they're not telling the truth.
No, but
I don't know.
It might not be in the same way we're doing it. Right. It might not be the same place. There could be different details about what they want to do. But what everyone says is, I wish
that's so cool, or
I can't do it. Yeah. I wish I could do it. And so what it tells me is like, okay, so I'm not crazy in the thought that me wanting to travel like this is a weird thought. Like everyone else wants to do it, but we have figured out in the place we're at in life that we have the ability to do it, and we're doing it. Leading up to it, it's a bunch of small decisions. It's so many small decisions. When you talk about big things, job, relationship, career, like kids, whatever, there's only a few like people would put into like big decisions.
This was one of them.
Yeah, but at the time it was such a small decision of like, how do we get to what we're doing?
Yes, there were a lot of small decisions that enabled you to make a big decision.
Right.
Yes.
So it didn't feel big at the time.
Felt big to me.
That's because you didn't want to do it.
That's not true. You can't. I think that we've talked about this before, that just because A is true doesn't mean that B is not.
No. Like I'm saying you didn't want me to quit my job.
I knew you wanted to, and I knew
That's not the question.
I'm getting
you
there.
didn't want me to quit my job.
I knew you needed to quit your job.
Yes.
But I think the comfortable place for me would have been to move into another job. The process for me to get there, like I mentioned, I was always on board with the direction we wanted to head in. It's simplifying our life.
Oh, yeah, that part. Yeah.
Like creating an environment and learning how to rest.
Right.
Teaching our kids those things.
Right.
That is changing direction from the way that we were going. And so I could see all of those things and the value that those changes would bring. And so in my mind, I'm like, well, what can we change to avoid the big thing? Like, what can we simplify? Can we sell houses to simplify that, or rental houses to simplify that way? Can we start having a Sabbath to try and bring some rest into the picture? I was on board with the concept, with the thought of like rest and simplification, but I was also trying to like keep away the big change I thought might be coming.
The travel.
The quitting your job.
Oh, well, yeah.
I didn't think a whole lot about myself in that process. When I fully realized this major...
The job or the travel? Because I think those are two things. They didn't happen at the same time.
The travel didn't, honestly, I don't think the travel freaked me out as much as the job.
Yeah.
And because it was a trajectory of like making more money.
Oh, sure.
And I didn't realize that money was so important to me. The job thing was the biggest deal to me, and the prospect of like, we're not moving from job A to job B.
No.
There's a lull in between, possibly, we're still not sure. I remember driving down the road, and there were no kids in the car, it was just me, and I didn't have any music on, and I was like praying, honestly, trying to get like some peace about the situation. And I remember like asking the Lord, like, but how do I know if I can trust him to make this huge decision for our family? Which is, I mean, we've been married for almost 15 years now, but it was almost 15 years then.
Mm-hmm.
And of course I trust you, but that's big. And what am I going to do if I don't? I don't know. And I was praying though, like, how do I know if I could trust him? And it almost feels like a rhetorical question.
Mm-hmm.
And it honestly, in my spirit, I felt like the answer was like, well, like, I've got your family. We're going to be okay no matter what it looks like. But I did not come to this easy. And it's been harder than I anticipated. Not the travel part per se. I think the emotions that I've had and we talk about haven't been because it's hard to travel. I think it's been like a realization of our life has changed and I don't know what it's going to look like.
Yep.
And just being okay in the in-between has been hard.
Yeah.
In a weird way. I mean, there are things that are much harder. People are dealing with much harder things.
Yeah.
But emotionally, when I lay down at night. It has been, it's getting much easier. I feel peace where we are here in the chateau, but I have gone through a roller coaster of, it's okay that we don't know what's next. Holy crap, we don't know what's next. Then back to like, we're gonna be okay. It doesn't matter what's next. Yeah, I feel like you're more of a cowboy apparently than me, even though I like to watch all the cowboy shows. I love to think I would have gone west, but
There's no way.
I don't know if I would have.
I've said this many times. In a survival situation,
That
you
is so
are
mean.
not going to make it.
That's so mean, and
It's not.
I completely disagree. I'm smart.
You can't eat anything. In a survival situation, being smart is not your first thing.
Essential. I'm also way sweeter, so people wouldn't kill us as fast, right?
No. In a zombie apocalypse.
Listen, being an anxious person, I play that stuff out all the time. If we were here I know exactly what I would do.
What would you?
I would board the windows. We'd be
With what?
With all the wood in the barn.
That's firewood.
Listen, I would survive. Why would you ever say that over me?
I've told you that many times.
I would survive.